Good morning, everybody. Kevin Schiller, Clark County Manager. Wanted to provide some updates today. Obviously, you're getting a look around. Two key pieces I want to really emphasize today. I'm going to be your moderator as we go through different speakers related to the different disciplines. This remains a coordinated effort amongst multiple agencies related to the incident. Our key issues right now, I want to make sure I emphasize, and you'll hear more about this, the recreation side of Mount Charleston remains closed, and you'll hear more about this, and will remain closed for the remainder of the season. That's significant based on the impacts and no services being up here. As far as roads, as far as travel, again, no services are here. So in terms of process and in terms of people coming and going, obviously on the public safety side, we've been focused on that. You have all heard that for the last 72 hours. We have established that, and we do not have issues with that, but we also have an active 24-hour operation here related to power, related to water, and particularly tied to the assessment side of this. I want to emphasize that we are still in the assessment phase in terms of both the short-term and the long-term needs as we look at the basic needs and health and welfare related to water, shelter, power, those types of pieces. I'm also going to moderate today so that I can formally get introductions out with each of the disciplines. Obviously, we're getting more detailed information every day, so I want them to be able to share that with you ongoing. The first person that I'm going to have come up and speak from our Southern Nevada Unified Command is Assistant Clark County Fire Chief Brian O'Neill, and then I will formally introduce from there. And then you will have opportunity for questions at the conclusion.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see everyone here today. We've been trying to get you up to do some live feeds up here, but as you saw on the way up, the road is still extremely dangerous. The Southern Nevada Unified Incident Management Team was called in early in this incident to support the Mount Charleston Fire Protection District. And health and safety has been our number one priority throughout this incident. I cannot reaffirm enough that the mountain is currently closed. I will let all of our partners continue to speak to that in more detail. But if the general public attempts to access the mountain, they will be putting themselves in real danger that you were able to capture here today. There is extensive damage that has occurred on the mountain. Residents have been encouraged to voluntarily evacuate. There is not a mandatory evacuation order in place, but that evacuation has been voluntary. No one is being forced to stay in their home either. And we have worked hard to reestablish temporary services that have been disrupted, including water, trash, and food and shelter as needed. The Nevada Task Force 1 has been brought in to conduct damage assessments. And as you can see, the damage has extended well beyond the community here and into the adjacent lands. We are engaging the community and the public through community-wide messaging and public messaging through our public information office. We have also been conducting in-person neighborhood briefings to try to reach residents that are here on the site and minimize travel on the roadways. We are also coordinating an interagency response. As you can see, the response to this incident has required the assistance of multiple different agencies. I'll give each of them the opportunity to speak to their individual aspects of this incident. And with that, I'll turn it back over to our moderator, County Manager.
Okay, next we have Mount Charleston Fire Protection District, Assistant Fire Chief Jason Douglas.
Thanks, Kevin. Hey, welcome up to the mountain. I'm glad we finally were able to get you guys up here. As you can see, driving up, there's a lot of reasons why we didn't have that access yet. I do still want to report our perfect safety record as of now. We want to continue to keep with that. Still no injuries to our residents, which is important to our staff here. It's also important that as we're doing this work, we have no reported injuries as well. One thing to keep in mind, my staff's working overtime here, everybody here, because we are keeping our emergency services open on this mountain, both sides, including both Lee Canyon and Kyle Canyon. The impact, as you can see, has been extensive to our community members, and we've been working closely with them to make sure they have what they need as much as we can as well. And like the rest of the folks who are going to talk today, it's important that we do keep people from coming up here that don't need to be up here, just plain and simple. There's a lot of moving parts to this operation. I get it. It's warm in Vegas. This is the great place to go. But The damage has still not been fully assessed. So that's a message from my department as well, because we're limited on our staff and we have support, but keeping that down has really helped us with the safety record I just reported to you. And with that, I'll give it back to Kevin, our moderator, county manager.
Thank you. As I just talked about, obviously recreational use is a key critical issue. We want to get this message out so people understand it. So I want to introduce Area Manager Deborah McNeil from the U.S. Forest Service. Sorry. I got to go first. Sorry. Nevada Department of Transportation, Mario Gomez. Sorry, Mario.
It's okay. It's all good. Thank you, everyone, for being out here this morning. And thank you for sharing our message to the traveling public and how we've been working diligently to be out here trying to restore a lot of the utilities that are out here that have been damaged, restoring a lot of our roads sections that have been severely impacted by the events that happened a week ago. Just to reiterate some of the things that we've been talking about with the rest of our stakeholders and emergency responders is that we've sustained severe damage to State Route 156, Lee Canyon Road, State Route 157, Cow Canyon Road, and State Route 158, Deer Creek Road. The roads will remain closed to through traffic or whoever wants to come out here to visit us. We are still limiting access, and we strongly encourage the traveling public not to be up here. So we are giving limited access to local residents, emergency responders, and utility companies to help us restore a lot of the utilities and services as needed up here in the Mount Charleston area. So just to give you a heads up as to what we are planning on doing as a DOT as well. Within the next few days, NDOT will be getting with a contractor to come out here and start restoring a lot of the damaged sections of our highway. And we recognize that we are looking at inclement weather as we progress in the next few months. So we have taken this as an utmost of urgency to complete the work as fast as we can, to restore the roads as fast as we can. So the roads, just to underline everything that so far has been brought up, is that these roads are still under no circumstances safe for the traveling public. It's only for local traffic and for emergency responders and also construction staff. Part of our contracting industry, how we operate, is that we normally take months to put contracts together like this. So us having the emergency declaration has helped us tremendously out here to be able to restore or be able to work diligently to restore a lot of our road sections. So that's been helping us tremendously out here to get that off the ground. I want to commend my NDOT team for restoring access to all three routes. They have done a tremendous job. What we normally take weeks to do, they've done in a matter of hours. And I must commend not only my NDOT team, maintenance staff, but also all the emergency responders and all the staff that have been involved out here. And so with that, thank you for your time.
Good morning. My name is Deb McNeil. I'm the area manager for the Spring Mountains National Recreation Area, which is part of the Humboldt-Toyabe National Forest. And as many of you know, and we hope to get the word out more, we issued an emergency closure at midnight last Friday due to the Hurricane Hillary coming in and the Weather Service's prediction of catastrophic damage and flooding. We have hiking trails, picnic areas, camping, etc. across the NRA, both developed and dispersed, and the warning was for the entire area. We have extended the closure indefinitely, and that is the entire Spring Mountains National Recreation Area. And that is because health and safety for employees and the public are our number one priority. And as you can see, there's a lot going on. We have sustained damages to the recreation areas in some places, some are others, and our engineers are out doing assessments now. And I understand that people want to be up here, and we will open areas that are safe, on the back side of the mountain, south of the mountain, where we can. But as some of the locals know, you can get some places across the highway due to the closures. So we're closed until further notice. We will reopen as soon as it's safe. I understand that Labor Day is coming, but with the closures at Deer Creek, all of Upper Kyle, Upper Lee, and all recreation off of Deer Creek will be closed until at least October 1st, when NDOT is expecting at best to be done. So we're not able to let the recreating public in safely when the roads are closed. So we'll be helping. Hopefully, you'll be able to help me get that word out because I know it's not good news, but we want to keep people safe and appreciate you. Thanks. Kevin?
Thank you. As you know, water is obviously a critical piece of this when we look at the different neighborhoods up here. So just have Corey Enos from Las Vegas Valley Water District to say a few words.
Good morning, everybody. The water district's goal remains the same, and that's to get water service restored, to give the community access to safe drinking water as quickly as possible. As others have stated, we are still in the assessment phase in some areas. As access improves, so does our ability to make those repairs. We were able to make some significant repairs last night in the Echo subdivision, and we'll continue to make those repairs as quickly as possible as we gain access. We've delivered more than 1,000 one-gallon bottles of water up here to the community, and we have a tanker truck where residents can come and gain access to water and take that back to their home. So our goal remains the same, and that's to get that water service restored as quickly, efficiently, and as safely as possible. Thank you.
Next, I want to introduce Shannon Gregory, Director of Delivery Operations with MV Energy, and I also have Mark Regan here, who will also say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. Straight off, I'd like to just show my appreciation to the Kyle Canyon residents. They've been phenomenal. Communication with those guys, everybody in and out, supplying us access, giving us their cooperation with getting us into the areas or getting out of the way, so to speak, if we needed to access their driveways and other spots. So Hurricane Hillary was definitely a thing. We saw a lot of damage clearly up on the mountain. MV Energy was prepared for this. We were able to stage some crews in preparation for this in the valley, and were able to respond pretty rapidly. We ended up restoring service to the entire mountain around 10:30 Wednesday night. The weather thought it amusing to challenge us again the next day with some lightning. We had a 2-hour outage on Angel Peak which affected the entire valley last night, but we got that back up and everybody's back in full power. I do not expect us to have any more interruptions, weather barring, so I'm thankful for that. I definitely want to say I'm very grateful for our crew response and their ability to get the power back on in a very timely manner. They worked safe, they worked diligently throughout the night, and I'm very grateful for that. Also, I would like to introduce Mark Regan. He's our fire mitigation expert. He will give you what his plans are for the future as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. As part of the Natural Disaster Protection Team, we have our incident management team in place. And now since the infrastructure is up and running, now our goal is to protect the infrastructure. We have identified over 200 hazardous trees that could impact the infrastructure. So as you guys were driving up the mountain today, you saw a lot of trees being removed. Those are all hazard trees that we're here to protect our infrastructure. So we've been working with the U.S. Forest Service, those citizens, on being able to remove those trees to protect the infrastructure. And we will have our incident management team still assessing this situation, but our goal is to have all the hazard trees off this mountain on the ground by the end of the week, next week. Back to the county manager. Thank you.
A couple pieces before we get into questions. Really want to emphasize again, it's a 24-hour operation. There's lots of assessment happening, so there's going to be ongoing updates tied to that. When we look at the residential side of this, when we look at the engineering side of this, outside of this, the emergency, there's going to be some long-term pieces to this that become intertwined related to the federal funding, the emergency declaration, and then also logistics. I want to thank all the partners related to our emergency management team, Clark County, MV Energy, all the speakers you've heard today. This remains a continued effort related to coordination. On the issue of communication, I really want to emphasize two pieces. For residents, one of the key pieces that we have, our phone number is 702-455-0249. That is the number for residents for information, response, questions, all of those pieces. And then we also have a page set up, Clark County Emergency Updates at clarkcountynv.gov. Very important that we're trying to keep that updated as quickly as we can as things change, and as we were trying to get information out. So I appreciate all of our media partners being a part of that process and getting that information out. We also are trying to keep all of our social channels and our website updated so that you guys have active information in addition to these types of briefings. I do have a highway patrol here, and I have representatives of the school district. They didn't have a formal presentation, but we want to jump into question and answer now. So with that, I'll open it up.
Quick question for you guys. Governor McNeil mentioned that by October 1st, there may be the possibility of those roads reopening and also parks reopening. Is that the expected time frame?
I think it's an estimation at this point. I can let him speak to that, but I think based on the assessments that we're currently seeing, and it changes daily, something could change, but I think that's kind of where we're going to go. Yeah.
Mario Gomez with NDOT. Debbie's comment is correct. We are trying to, that is our goal at this point in time, but not unless we go out there and start looking at the real damage on the roads, we'll be able to make a more educated assessment as to what it is that we're dealing with and how fast we can get it done. But to her point, though, is that we are working as expeditiously as we can out here on these roads. They are not safe for anybody at this point in time, so we want to make sure that when we are complete with the work, that we are providing the safety that needs to be for the traveling public as well. So at this point, the roads must remain closed to the traveling public.
When you say a contract is approved for these roads, what exactly does that mean?
So we have a contractor. We've been talking with them about the damage, and we are hopeful that starting by midweek next week, we'll have them out here mobilized with equipment and going to work and performing a lot of the repairs that are out here. The primary goal for them to do is obviously State Route 157 and 156 and get those concurrently done at the same time so that we can expeditiously work on before the winter sets in, essentially. Once we get cold weather in, it's going to be a challenge for us. So we recognize that the weather we're working against that as well. So.
Mario?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on potentially why it takes so long to fix the roads? Because I know you mentioned earlier this week that you have to start from the ground level and work your way up.
So that's an excellent question. So a lot of the areas that we have, we've lost sections of road. If you obviously you've seen a lot of the pictures from us to you all, the media. So we've had a tremendous amount of damage out here, 50, 60, 80-foot cuts out there, sections of lanes missing, sections of shoulders missing. So a contractor that's out there does not drop material 50 feet down and compact it. They have to get in there and start compacting from the bottom up. If they don't do those things, then the road's going to eventually fall apart or settle and create some other secondary issues. So it's initially, when we were out here trying to assess the damage, we had to deal with the running water as well initially. So that's why we could not be out here making an assessment as to the real damage that's been out here. So now that the waters have subsided, we are able to work more expeditiously in a little bit more safe manner. We are able to make a better assessment of what's going on. But also overall, once we get a contractor out here, we'll be having daily meetings, looking at their progress and be able to project things a little better to be able to inform the media and inform everybody else as to what it is, our goals are, and when we're going to get things done. So.
Maybe a next week question, but are you guys planning on doing anything different or any preventative measures when you're building this road that maybe wasn't done when this initial road was built?
We are looking at upgrading some sections that we believe we've had several experts out here. That's an excellent question, by the way. We've had several experts out here, hydraulics, structural division has been out here, roadway design, some of the people that work at headquarters, and this is all they do day in and day out. So they've been out here several times looking at some of the damage, and now is an opportunity for us to maybe plate, reinforce, upgrade some things that we may be able to. Because we don't want this to happen again. Not that it was preventable, but we want to make sure that we are getting better at what we're doing and reinforcing our roads.
Does that extend to actually building culverts and drainage and things like that there's money available in the state to do that?
Well, So yes, we are doing culverts, drainage structures. That's our primary focus to make sure that we're navigating through some areas. We also had a discussion earlier before this meeting started with MV Energy about their station down the hill here about reinforcing that as well. So there's little things that we need to involve other stakeholders, and at this point in time, we're certainly got to keep as many people involved as we can to make sure that we're addressing some of their concerns because utility companies have sustained some damage out here as well. So we want to make sure that we're helping them out as much as we can within the parameters of what an emergency contract is as well. We don't want to be stretching the project out so far out with scope creep or extending the scope of the project that now we're falling behind on schedules. So.
In the latter part of that, is there like the potential possibility that the rainy day fund may have to come into play to fix all this damage?
No, we are working with our Department of Emergency Management right now, and because it's a declaration, then we are looking for state money to fund the project, and then we're hopeful that we'll seek reimbursement with Federal Highway Administration for the damage that has been sustained out here. So there are rules that we must follow, and then we need to tread carefully with those as well to make sure that we do get our money back for the damage.
Any estimate how much the project would cost?
Right now, just to get the project started, anywhere from $5 to $8 million is what we speculate. It could be less, it could be more. At this point in time, it's way too early for us to make a determination. We're just estimating right now.
Out of all the subdivisions, was there one particular one that was hit the hardest from the ones that are up here?
That I don't know. I'm just a road guy. That may be a question for somebody else, but I am just a DOT. Just deal with the road.
Jason Douglas, Assistant Fire Chief. Yeah, so actually the subdivision you're standing in has been hit the hardest. As you can see behind us, this wash, there's some great videos and pictures out there, but the water extended way beyond this entire area. Their water system is it's pretty bad over there. Some houses were damaged. There's a lot of extensive damage here. Not to say the others weren't, but this was definitely the epicenter of what happened that night.
Out of the people who have been evacuated, I mean, how many families have actually left the area and how many still are staying here in these subdivisions?
So that number's hard to quantify. We've been going back and forth, checking our residents, my staff specifically. We've had quite a few leave, also quite a few come up to check as allowed. But right now, most of our subdivisions, I can't really even give you a direct number on that. But we've had, there's still people up here.
Is the Nevada National Guard still here?
The Nevada National Guard is not still here in assistance, as we were utilizing them for more of our life safety issues with accessing folks that needed help getting across the water and things like that.
Do you know the total number of people they evacuated?
When they were up here with their operations, they assisted us with about 51 folks the day of the actual incident, from 2 o'clock in the morning till about 8. Any other questions on that?
We're gonna need to wrap up so we can allow you to get the pictures that you want. So maybe 2 more questions. I just had one for Lundy. What's happening with the students at Lundy Elementary?
Have the school district here.
Good morning. Rob Hutchinson, Clark County School District Facilities Management. So with the students and transportation, communication is going to come to all the families and the people involved through the principal.
Do you have an estimate of when school could potentially start again?
So the school took some substantial damage, experienced some serious extensive damage, and we are working with engineers right now and internal departments to assess that damage. We're going to have some people here next week to do some more assessments. Right now, what we're doing on that corner where the building is eroded and could potentially fall is we're trying to protect it with our partners behind us here for any other rains that may come and to kind of hold. We have no timeline or any estimates on when the school will reopen at this time.
How many students were impacted and how are they doing school right now?
All student related questions are going to be through a different department. I'm just with facilities right now. I think it's somewhere in the lines of 16. There you go. See, I didn't want to misspeak.
And I just had a question about federal money. Kevin mentioned bringing in federal assistance of some sort. What all do you need and what all are you asking for?
Good question. It's a complicated answer, but what I will say is, obviously, as I've emphasized a couple of times, we declared the emergency. Under that emergency, that allows us access to different components through State Department of Emergency Management with our multi-coordinated effort. The big piece of that, obviously, in the initial 72 hours is we're still in the assessment phase. So we have different federal caps and different pieces when you look at how we claim those dollars. So we continue to work with the Department of Emergency Management. My guess is that number will get larger as we continue to assess. I want to emphasize a couple pieces as you're walking around today. You've heard from MV Energy. You've heard about the water. When you look at just behind me, Mother Nature has changed the water flow. So as we look at that, that is where that will become critical in terms of assessment, using federal partners and contractors to determine what that costing looks like, and then we engage in a process related to those requests, which you guys will get further updates on as that evolves. Yep. Okay. Okay. And again, I just want to emphasize the information I gave out for residents and the community, just if you guys can help get that out, and I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you.